written off, it's written off for the good of everybody. Yes, next question.
Yes, hello. David Ilario, Laris Cloud Service. I just had an interesting conversation with Dev and Kisun from Registration Services. I'm setting up a new membership, and my client has already provided all the documentation, contracts, a lot of very intrusive requests, actually. And now I'm being asked for if they have a BGP license, and if we check that BGP transit license exists in South Africa, which I found very strange as a request from Registration Services. If you need to provide your BGP transit license in order to request an allocation. And that was the feedback I received from Registration Services just literally an hour ago.
Okay, the CEO will respond to your question. It's way above governance for my brain.
It's above your pay scale.
I'm not aware of this incident, but I don't think there's such a thing as a BGP transit license. Registration Services staff will ask for confirmation that you have at least 2 BGP neighbors, and they might want to see some kind of evidence of that, like a letter from your upstream or a letter from your peer, but it's not a license.
We provided that already, but they told me it's standard procedure to ask for licenses of operation in any country in Africa.
Ah, okay, so not a BGP license, but an ISP operator's license.
It was a BGP license. They say specifically for this one was BGP transit license, but it can be an ISP license, it can be anything. Which I find very strange that you start going so deep down into the local regulation of every country to know how they operate.
Right. So we have a duty to check that your resources will be used in the way that's specified by policy. And we do often ask a lot of questions to verify that. I do from time to time receive complaints that we ask too many questions. I ask you to take them offline with me, please.
Because we already provided passports, documenting operations, contracts with the local providers, data centers, and now we're being asked. It seems
Right.
a bit intrusive and
Yep.
a little bit too much.
In my opinion, what you've just said should be plenty. If Registration Services is asking for more, they might have a reason which I'm not aware of, so please take it with me offline.
Okay, so it's not a standard question.
I don't think so.
And it should not be asked, basically.
They can ask anything at their discretion, but it's not a standard question.
Thank you very much.
All right, if you claim you run out of Kenya, they might ask you which street Boma Hotel is. Just standard procedure. All right, honest.
Hello, everyone. Ornella Gampa. I just wanted to ask Mr. Alson. You seem to say in your report that your finances are looking good because of the good job of the board. I would think it's because actually of the IPv4 uptake. It's more because of that than the good job of the board that the finances are looking better at the moment.
Okay, that question is for the chair. Everybody who gave reports did it at the pleasure of the chair. If you look at the growth of membership, it was 1,400 and something in 2015 and 1,005 in 2016. So the ratio of the growth of the membership, the ratio of the growth of the resource depletion is not directly proportional to the growth of the surplus, especially when you look at the fact that operating expenses were actually decreasing. So what we have given is some suggestions. We can get econometric scientists to come and get the actual determination, but I think we just need to report that the board is doing some things, and we believe those things we are doing. are the things that has led to it. And if you look at my own presentation, which was an overview, I made it clear that it's a trinity doing the work. There's the board, there's the management, and the staff. We have not apportioned the delivery by those three. So let's just take it that everybody, all hands are on deck to make Afrinic a functional organization, including the community, who's doing very well to support us. Thank you. Thank you.
So, Chair, basically you are saying you are spending more. I mean, you are spending less. Afrinic is spending less now.
Raise your voice, we can't hear you.
So basically, from your response to Onela, what you're trying to say is Afrinic is spending less.
If you look at the graphs and the details presented, the answer is yes. It's only this year sometime that we really spent some good money on infrastructure upgrade.
Do we intend to spend more?
Sorry?
Do we intend to spend more?
No, but I also need to sound a note of caution. We are not cutting costs for the sake of cutting costs. So expenditure may go up because we may need to do some more things. Example, disaster recovery. Example, many more things on training. Example, we need to do much more outreach. Last month, myself and the CEO were at Transform Africa in Kigali. Those are new activities we're carrying on to engage, to do more things. So we are not just doing cost cutting, we're also doing some strategic things to reposition Afrinic. And costs will go up, but they will not fly. We are not flying business class, we're flying economy, so many things we're doing to keep costs down. Okay, thank you. It's concerted, it's not accidental, sir.
Okay, can we also at least put this in the strategic document? Because I've also been asking you guys about that, but the 4-page strategic document you shared with the community does not clearly clarify some of these issues. Anyway, that's a by the way. But I have a question. I raised a question about the penalties. It's not clear on the financial document statement the value of the penalties that have been collected in the past couple of years. It's basically in there, but can we know the actual value of penalties? The total value from the penalties members have been paying.
I have the figures, but I want Mr. Sibon to please address.
Andrew.
Sorry, Andrew has the figures, but before you go on, let me just make some comments as an overview to say that I wanted to reply to that comprehensively because part of what I needed to show is that the penalties have served some deterrence, all right? So I have the figures. I will still respond to you, but I just thought it was not an AGMM issue. But Andrew, please go ahead and respond.
Noah, thanks for the question. As per what I said in my presentation, the reason these weren't in the AFS was because I can only derive the audit code presentation from what's actually in the financial statements. However, it falls into the recurring revenue part, and in 2016, it was $165,193, and if you want to go back a year further than that, it was $119,395, again found in the recurring revenue fee portion in the financial statements, and we will take that back and see if we can separate that out in future reports so that it is always clear. Thank you.
But then, that is serious because I think maybe the entire membership needs to take the penalty issue serious. Okay? I don't know.
Sorry, can you address me? I can't hear you.
What I'm saying is, if the membership is paying that much amount of money, okay, just on the penalties, then I don't think it's right.
Thank you. Much as what you are saying, by my own calculations, penalties are accounting for like 3% of revenue. But bear in mind that if people pay on time, penalty is 0. So it's not something that you have no choice, but you must pay. You can avoid paying penalty. I note the fact that there are some discussions on the mailing list regarding penalties, and I've sent a mail out this morning that the board is proposing to give an additional 30-day moratorium so that people have 60 days to settle their bill from the first of the month, bearing in mind that the invoices go out on the 1st of November. So now that gives members 4 months to pay their bills, 120 days before 5% penalty is slammed on a member who has not paid. I think 120 days is generous, very, very generous, a constraint to give for people to pay up. But if you think it should still be better than that, let's go back to the discussions on the mailing list, which the community has started. Let's discuss it there. But I have posted the response. I have given the proposal of the board, and I think we should discuss it offline, online instead of offline here. That's my suggestion. But again, you decide. You are our bosses. So tell us what to do.
Okay, thank you, Sandy. But actually, we can take that, of course, on the mailing list. My point exactly is that the revenue we are talking about today, there is penalties in that. That's what I'm trying to say.
You are trying to say that penalties have substantially increased revenue.
Yes.
Not true.
That is not true. We have a surplus of $900,000 plus, and penalties this year is just $133,000. That's not what made it substantial. We can go and do multivariate analysis to see whether it has a significance, but let's take out of AGMM.
I have a question from Timothy from Osun State University, Nigeria. Can we have the list of members whose debts were written off?
NDA forbids us, the RSA forbids us to do that. The audit committee has already done its work. It has ascertained this. If membership don't trust the fact that the board in its wisdom wrote off $30,000, which is less than 0.01% of our revenue, then I worry. It's not even 1%, 0.01. So I am worried about that. I mean, this is far better than the lowest of the industry standard in terms of finances. So I think to subject members who went out of business to publicity because we want to be transparent over $30,000, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Thank you. Yes, Ben, you are recognized.
Thank you, Chair. I have a question. From what the presentation was being done about the finances of the organization, I see that we are pretty much okay. Or from the surpluses plus the reducing of the operating costs, the OPEX costs, it looks like we are pretty much clear. And also from the financial report saying that we are within the 21. I mean, there are no variants, and we're not expecting any huge expenditures. So my question is, what was the basis for the proposal for changing the fee structure if we are actually running Yes, so what was the proposal for, what was the basis for changing the fee structure, the membership fee structure, if from what all the indications are we are pretty much running okay and we are not expecting any serious deviations?
Okay, your question is why are we changing the fees?
Why is there a proposal to change the fee structure?
When we are making a surplus?
No, when our
Okay, bear in mind that we are approaching exhaustion. When there is no more revenue from IPv4, we shouldn't be reacting. We want to be proactive.
But no, but then at the same time, you also demonstrated that the recurring costs, the fees we got from the recurring costs was able to meet the operating expenses from the analysis that was presented.
Yes, but you are mixing two things. You see, okay, Alan, please.
Thank you, Chair. We're not proposing to increase the fees. We're proposing to change the fee structure. It's not that we need more revenue. It's that the existing fee structure is unfair to some members. So the Fees Committee has not yet come up with any final proposals, but it's considering things like increasing the price for the very, very, very large members and decreasing the price for the smaller members, and distributing the fees more evenly, and making sure that the IPv6, which is currently free, should also contribute towards the fees, and also to look at fees for resource transfers, which we don't currently have, to look at discount structure, so we can look at discounts for non-profit organizations or community networks, which are currently not in the fee structure. So when you hear revising the fees, don't think increasing the fees. It's not the same thing.
Yes, I understand that, but okay, yes, I understand that, but I'm trying to identify what is actually broken within the current fee structure so that it warrants that change.
I'd suggest that you wait for the recommendation from the Fees Committee.
All right, members, Ben was standing between us and coffee. Don't do that again, but bring your questions. All right, I'll now call on Chair of NOMCOM.
Please, let's have
Oh, okay, I understand people want a break. So, 10 minutes break.
Who said you must start late?
10 minutes break, and we'll be back.